She was bleeding when she dove into the back of his car. Split lip, bruised ribs, bare feet cut from running through broken glass. Her heart hammered so hard she thought her ribs might crack. Behind her, Jason's voice cut through the storm, angry, desperate, hunting. Elena didn't think. She just moved. The Bentley's door was unlocked. She slid into the back seat, pressing herself into the footwell, making herself small. Please don't let him find me. Please. The leather smelled like expensive cologne and danger. Her breath came in ragged gasps that she tried to muffle with her hand. Then the door opened. A man slid into the back seat, tall, immaculate in a midnight blue suit that probably cost more than her entire year's rent. His cologne hit her first. Then she saw the ink. A serpent wrapped around his wrist, disappearing up his sleeve, scales so detailed they seemed to move in the dim light. He didn't look down, didn't acknowledge her presence, just spoke quietly in Italian to someone in the front seat. Elena's whole body trembled. He knows I'm here. He has to know. Then Jason appeared, banging on the window, wild-eyed and drenched. I know she's in there. Give her back. The man, this stranger who could destroy her with a word, looked at Jason with eyes like black ice. When he spoke, his voice was silk over steel, accented and absolutely certain. You are mistaken. Leave, now. She's my girlfriend. I have rights. You have nothing. The man's tone didn't rise. It didn't need to. Walk away while you still can. The air itself seemed to freeze. Jason stared, then stumbled back and ran. Elena couldn't breathe, couldn't move, couldn't process what just happened. The man finally looked down at her, really looked at her. His eyes traveled over the bruises she tried to cover, the swelling on her cheekbone, the terror she couldn't hide. You're safe now, he said softly. Then, leaning closer, he added words that would haunt and save her. You're mine now, tesoro, and I protect what's mine. If this story is already making your heart race, hit that subscribe button, because what happens next will change everything you think you know about power, protection, and freedom. Trust me, you don't want to miss where this goes. Let me take you back 6 hours. Elena Rodriguez had been making herself smaller for 2 years. Smaller voice, smaller dreams, smaller existence, because that's what you did when you loved a man whose moods changed like the weather. Jason Chen was beautiful when he wanted to be, charming, funny, the kind of man who brought you flowers after he made you cry, who swore this was the last time, who made you believe that if you just loved him enough, he would change. But Jason had a gambling problem, and gambling problems have teeth. That morning, Elena had been cleaning the bathroom, the only space Jason still let her control, when she found the burner phone, hidden behind the loose tile she'd been meaning to fix for months. Her hands shook as she opened it. The messages made her blood turn to ice. How much for the girl? She's pretty. 20 grand. Deal. Friday night, usual place. Elena read it 3 times before her brain would accept it. Jason wasn't just in debt. He was planning to sell her, like furniture, like a car he didn't need anymore. The phone slipped from her fingers, clattering against the tile. Behind her, Jason's voice. What are you doing? She ran. Through the apartment, down 3 flights of stairs, into the street. She ran in her bare feet because there was no time for shoes. Ran through the city she loved that now felt like a trap. Ran through her lungs burned and her vision blurred, and she couldn't hear his footsteps anymore. That's when she saw the parking garage. Private, expensive, secure. That's when she saw the Bentley. That's when her life ended and began again in the same breath. The penthouse was on the 47th floor. Elena stood in the elevator, still barefoot, still shaking, pressed against the far wall from the man who'd saved her, or claimed her, or both. His name was Dante Moretti, and even his name sounded dangerous. Where are you taking me? Her voice came out smaller than she intended. Somewhere safe. He didn't look at her, but she felt the weight of his attention anyway. Somewhere Jason Chen will never find you. You know his name? I know everything about the people who owe me money. Now he did look at her, and his eyes were ancient, knowing. Jason Chen owed my organization $300,000. He thought selling you would solve his problem. Your organization? Elena's stomach dropped. The elevator doors opened on a space that looked like it belonged in an architecture magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows, marble floors, art that was probably worth more than Elena would earn in her lifetime. Come, Dante walked ahead, expecting her to follow. You must be hungry. She wasn't. Terror had killed her appetite, but she followed anyway, because what else could she do? A woman appeared, severe, elegant, terrifyingly competent, and guided Elena to a bedroom that was bigger than her entire apartment had been. The bathroom had heated floors. The closet was full of clothes in exactly her size, tags still attached. How did you... Dante is thorough, the woman said. Her accent was French. Her expression was unreadable. My name is Margot. If you need anything, press the button by the bed. Someone will come. Then she left Elena alone in a room so beautiful it felt like a cage. Are you feeling what Elena's feeling right now? That mix of safety and terror, gratitude and suspicion. Drop a comment and tell me, would you have gotten in that car? Would you have trusted a stranger over the monster you knew? For 3 days, Elena lived in beautiful isolation. Meals appeared at regular intervals, prepared by a chef she never saw. Margot checked on her twice daily, asking if she needed anything, never staying long enough for real conversation. The penthouse was quiet, except for the city sounds filtering up from far below. Elena spent hours at the windows, watching the world move without her. On the 4th day, she turned on the television. The news anchor's face was serious. Violence erupted last night at a warehouse in the industrial district. Multiple casualties. Police are investigating possible gang connections. Among the deceased, Jason Chen, 29, previously linked to illegal gambling operations. Elena's knees gave out. She sat hard on the plush carpet, remote falling from her hand. Jason was dead. She should have felt something, grief, guilt, something. Instead, she felt numb, and underneath the numbness, something that might have been relief. You saw the news. Dante's voice came from behind her. She hadn't heard him enter. Elena didn't turn around. Did you... I eliminated a problem. His footsteps approached, stopped a few feet away. Jason Chen tried to run after I bought his debt. That was inadvisable. You bought his debt? Elena didn't turn, looking up at this man who spoke about death like it was a business transaction. I bought his debt, Dante clarified, not you. There's a difference. Is there? The question came out sharper than she intended, because I'm here and I can't leave, and the door is unlocked. Dante's voice was gentle, which somehow made it more dangerous. The elevator works. You can leave whenever you want, Elena. She stared at him. Why don't I believe you? Because you're smart. The corner of his mouth lifted, not quite a smile. Because you know that out there, someone else might try to use you against me, and I don't let people take what's mine. I'm not yours. Aren't you? He stood, offered her his hand, strong, scarred, steady. She took it. He pulled her to her feet, and for a moment they stood too close, her hand still in his. Why? She whispered. Why help me? What do you want? Join me for dinner, Dante said, and I'll tell you. The dining room was intimate. A table set for 2, candles casting golden light, wine that probably cost more than Elena's car used to be. Dante was different at dinner, still controlled, still dangerous, but present. He asked questions, listened to answers, told her stories about growing up in Sicily, about learning to survive in a world that wanted to eat him alive. I didn't choose this life, he said, swirling wine in his glass, but I learned to excel at it because the alternative was dying, and I'm too stubborn for that. Elena found herself relaxing, inch by dangerous inch. What do you actually do besides, buying debts and eliminating problems? I run businesses, some legal, some less so. I settle disputes, broker deals, protect people who need protection. His eyes found hers. I build empires. And what am I? Another brick in your empire? No. He set down his glass. You're the first person in 10 years to look at me like I'm human. That's worth more than you know. This is getting intense, right? If you're hooked on Elena and Dante's story, smash that like button and stay with me because we're about to get to the gala scene, and I promise you, it's going to blow your mind. 2 weeks later, Elena stood in front of a floor-length mirror, not recognizing herself. The dress was emerald silk, cut to showcase her collarbones, where the bruises had finally faded, and curve around her body like water. Margot had styled her hair in an elegant updo, and diamonds glittered at her throat. Borrowed from Dante's collection, Margot had explained, each stone worth more than Elena's entire previous life. You look like a queen, Dante said from the doorway. Elena turned. He was in a tuxedo, and the sight of him stole her breath. Dangerous men shouldn't be allowed to look this good. I look like I'm playing dress-up, she countered, but her voice wavered. Dante crossed to her, stopped just behind her so they both faced the mirror. You look like you belong, because you do. At a charity gala for the city's elite, I'm a waitress, Dante, or I was. You were someone who survived a monster. His hands settled on her shoulders, warm and steady. That makes you stronger than most of the people we'll meet tonight. Don't forget that. The gala was at the Athenaeum. Old money, older architecture, the kind of place Elena had only seen in magazines. Dante's hand was constant at her lower back as they entered, guiding, claiming, protecting. People stared. Of course they stared. A woman approached, stunning, probably 60, dripping in sapphires. Dante, darling, how unexpected to see you here. Her eyes cut to Elena, and with company? Isabella. Dante's voice cooled by several degrees. Elena, this is Isabella Corsetti. She runs several art galleries in the city. And several other things, Isabella purred. Tell me, dear, how did you meet our Dante? He saved my life, Elena said simply. Isabella's smile sharpened. How romantic. Do be careful, though. Men like Dante collect beautiful things, but they rarely keep them once they lose their shine. Elena felt Dante tense beside her, but before he could respond, she stepped forward. I'm not a thing to be collected, Mrs. Corsetti. I'm a person, and if Dante wanted me gone, I'd be gone. She smiled, sweet as poison, but I'm still here, so perhaps you should recalibrate your assumptions. Isabella's eyes widened, then she laughed, genuine, delighted. Oh, I like her, Dante. This one has teeth. Elena's stepping into her power, and I am here for it. If you're loving this transformation, leave a comment. What would you have said to Isabella? And stick around, because this gala is about to go sideways in the worst possible way. The attack came during the silent auction. One moment, Elena was laughing at something Dante said. The next, the lights went out, and screams erupted across the ballroom. Dante moved instantly, pulling Elena behind him, positioning his body as a shield. Stay low, don't move. Emergency lights flickered on, casting everything in blood red. Elena saw them then, men in black tactical gear, faces covered, weapons raised. 6 of them fanning out through the ballroom. Their leader stepped forward, removing his mask. Young Asian with eyes like broken glass. Vincent Liu. Dante's voice was ice. Bold move, attacking a charity event. Who are you trying to impress? Your death impresses me. Vincent gestured, and 2 of his men grabbed an elderly couple, pressing guns to their heads. But I'm willing to negotiate. Give me the woman, and everyone else walks away. Elena's heart stopped. He wants me? No. Dante's refusal was absolute. Dante, Elena started. No. Vincent sighed. Disappointing. I hoped you'd be reasonable. You see, your protection of this particular woman has caused complications. My associates had a deal with Jason Chen. When you eliminated him and took his asset, you cost us a significant investment. Jason Chen was garbage, and Elena is not an asset. She's under my protection, which means she's untouchable. Everything's touchable. Everyone has a price. Vincent raised his weapon. Last chance, Moretti. The woman, or I start executing hostages, starting with, "I'll go." Elena stepped out from behind Dante before he could stop her. Every eye in the room locked on her. "Elena, no!" Dante's hand shot out, but she evaded it. "It's okay," she said, voice steadier than she felt. "I'm not worth people dying." She walked forward, past frozen socialites and armed gunmen, until she stood in the open space between Vincent and Dante. Vincent smiled. "Smart girl. See? Was that so?" The shot was deafening. Elena flinched, but the bullet wasn't for her. It hit Vincent's shoulder, spinning him around. More shots erupted. Dante's men, hidden throughout the room, executing a coordinated assault. In seconds, it was over. Vincent's team was down, disarmed, neutralized with surgical precision. Dante crossed to Elena in 3 strides, cupping her face in his hands. "You stupid, brave, infuriating woman, what were you thinking?" "I was thinking they would have killed people." Her voice shook now, adrenaline crashing. "I was thinking—" He kissed her. Hard, claiming, desperate, his hands tangled in her carefully styled hair, pulling her against him like he could physically merge their bodies, like he needed her closer than physics allowed. When they broke apart, Elena was breathless. What was that? That was me realizing I can't lose you. That was me understanding that somewhere between rescuing you and now, you became essential. Stay with me, Elena, not because you're trapped, not because you're afraid, but because you want to. She should have said no, should have run from this dangerous, complicated man and his violent world. Instead, she whispered, "Yes." Okay, can we talk about that kiss? Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you felt that intensity, and subscribe if you want to see where this impossible relationship goes next, because we're only halfway through, and Elena's transformation is just beginning. They left the city the next day. Dante's country house was actually a sprawling villa in wine country 3 hours north. Stone walls, lavender fields, silence that felt like luxury after the city's constant noise. "This was my mother's favorite place," Dante said, showing Elena through rooms filled with afternoon light. "She died when I was 17, cancer. I couldn't save her." It was the most vulnerable thing he'd ever told her. They spent 3 days there, and Elena discovered versions of Dante that didn't exist in the city. He actually cooked, pasta from scratch, sauce that simmered for hours. He laughed, open and unguarded. He told her stories about his mother, about learning to survive in a world that wanted to eat him alive. On the 3rd night, they sat on the terrace under a sky full of stars Elena had forgotten existed. "I need to tell you something," Dante said quietly, "about why I really helped you that night." Elena turned to face him. "I'm listening." "Jason Chen wasn't the first person who owed me money, wasn't the 100th. I've seen dozens of men like him, weak, cruel, willing to sell anything to save themselves." He paused. "But when I saw you in my car, the way you looked at me, terrified but defiant, already planning how to survive me even while you were using me to survive Jason Chen, I saw strength I recognized." "Strength?" "My mother had that strength, married to my father, a man even more dangerous than I am, but she never let him break her. She protected me, taught me that power isn't just about violence, it's about knowing who you are and refusing to apologize for it." His hand found hers. "You reminded me of my mother, and I thought, maybe if I could protect you the way I couldn't protect her, maybe that would mean something." Elena's throat tightened. "Dante." "But it became more than that. You're not a stand-in for my mother, Elena. You're you. Brilliant and brave, and so damn stubborn. You see me, really see me, and you don't flinch." His thumb brushed across her knuckles. "I'm asking you to stay, not because I need to protect you, but because I need you, as a partner, as an equal." "I'm not your equal," Elena said softly. "You run an empire. I can barely run my own life." You survived Jason Chen for 2 years. You escaped with nothing but your will to live. You faced down armed gunmen to protect strangers. You've been in my world for less than a month, and you already command more respect than people I've known for years." He shifted closer. "Don't underestimate yourself, Tesoro. I certainly don't." She kissed him then, soft, deliberate, choosing him the way he'd chosen her. "Teach me," she whispered against his mouth. "Teach me how to be strong in your world, how to stand beside you instead of behind you." Dante pulled back just enough to meet her eyes. "Elena Rodriguez, you're going to be magnificent." 6 weeks after that boardroom revelation, Elena stood in a boardroom on the 35th floor of Moretti Industries. She wore a charcoal suit tailored to perfection, her hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail, diamond studs in her ears, a gift from Dante, who sat at the head of the table watching her present. The discrepancies in the shipping manifests suggest embezzlement totaling approximately $2.3 million over the past 18 months, Elena said, her voice clear and confident. "I've traced the false invoices back to 3 accounts, all linked to—" She clicked to the next slide, showing photographs and financial records. "Vincent Liu's organization." Silence filled the room. 12 men and 3 women, Dante's inner circle, stared at the evidence she'd compiled. Dante leaned back in his chair. "Explanations?" Marcus, the operations director, shifted uncomfortably. "We've been investigating, but you missed what Elena found in 2 weeks." Dante's tone was mild, deadly. "Continue, Elena." She continued, laying out the conspiracy with precision, showing how Vincent had been bleeding Dante's organization to fund his own operations, using legitimate business channels as cover. When she finished, the room erupted in controlled chaos, people pulling out phones, issuing orders, setting wheels in motion. Dante stood, buttoning his jacket. "Elena and I need to discuss next steps. Marcus, I want a full audit by Friday. Sophia, coordinate with our legal team. Everyone else, you have your assignments." They filed out, several pausing to nod respectfully to Elena on their way past. When they were alone, Dante crossed to where she stood by the windows. "You're terrifying, you know that." He slid his arms around her waist from behind, in the best possible way. Elena leaned back against him. "I used to balance Jason's gambling debts every month, trying to figure out where the money went, trying to fix what couldn't be fixed. I got good at finding patterns in chaos." "You're more than good. You're extraordinary." He pressed a kiss to her temple. "I have something for you." He pulled a small box from his pocket. Elena's heart jumped. "Before you panic, it's not what you think. Or maybe it is. I'm not sure anymore." He opened the box, revealing a ring, antique gold, a single emerald surrounded by small diamonds. "This was my mother's. In my family, we don't give engagement rings. We give partnership rings, a promise of equality, not ownership." Elena's breath caught. "I'm not asking you to be my wife," Dante continued. "Not yet, anyway. I'm asking you to be my partner, in business, in life, in everything. Stand beside me, build with me, rule with me." His voice dropped. "Choose me, Elena, every day, the way I choose you." She turned in his arms, took the ring, slid it onto her right hand. It fit perfectly. "Yes," she said, "yes to all of it." He kissed her, deep, claiming, full of promise and heat, and a future she could finally see clearly. "The city is going to learn to fear you, Elena Rodriguez, my beautiful, brilliant queen." "Let them fear us," Elena corrected, "together." Subscribe if you're absolutely living for Elena's transformation. Comment Queen if you're here for her rise to power. Because guys, we're not done yet. The best part is still coming. 3 months after the boardroom revelation, Elena stood in a private club on the waterfront. The meeting was invitation only. the heads of the city's 5 major organizations, gathering for the first time in a decade. Dante had called it, and no one dared refuse. Elena wore black, a dress that moved like smoke, her mother's ring catching the light beside Dante's emerald. She stood at Dante's side, and when the others entered, they saw their reactions. Surprise, assessment, in one case, thinly veiled contempt from an older man who clearly thought women didn't belong in rooms like this. "Gentlemen," Dante began, "thank you for coming. I've called this meeting to address the situation with the Liu organization." "Vincent Liu is dead," Marcus Castellano said bluntly. "He ran the docks. What's to address?" "His infrastructure remains," Elena said, and every eye turned to her. "His people, his territories, his operations. Someone needs to absorb them. The question is who?" "The question," sneered the older man, Rodrigo Santos, "is why we're taking advice from Moretti's companion." Elena smiled. She'd prepared for this. "Because this companion found the embezzlement that cost Dante $2.3 million. Because I've spent the last 3 months analyzing Liu's financial records, seized after his death. And because I know which of you were working with him to undermine the others." She pulled a tablet from her clutch, set it on the table. "Would you like me to start with your shell companies in the Caymans, Mr. Santos? Or should we discuss your kickbacks you were receiving from Liu's shipping operation?" Santos went pale. "You're bluffing." "I never bluff." Elena tapped the screen and financial records filled the display. "You've been skimming from the collective fund for 18 months, roughly $4 million by my calculations." Chaos. Dante let it run for exactly 30 seconds before he raised a hand. Silence fell instantly. "Elena has proven herself more valuable than most of my long-term associates. She speaks with my full authority, and her proposal for Liu's territories is the most equitable solution for all of us." Over the next hour, Elena laid out a plan that redistributed Liu's operations based on each organization's strengths, with Dante's organization taking the financial operations, Elena's specialty, and coordinating the others. By the end, even Santos was nodding grudgingly. As they filed out, one of the other bosses, a woman named Lucia Chen, paused by Elena. "Impressive," she said. "If you ever get tired of Moretti, I could use someone with your skills." Elena smiled. "I appreciate the offer, but I'm exactly where I want to be." When they were alone, Dante pulled her against him, kissing her with the kind of intensity that still made her knees weak. "You just restructured the city's entire criminal economy," he said against her lips. "You're magnificent." "We restructured it," Elena corrected. "Partners, remember?" "Partners," he agreed, "in everything." 6 months after that first terrified night in the Bentley, Elena stood at the windows of the penthouse. The city sprawled below her, lights glittering like scattered diamonds, streets flowing with life, all of it continuing without knowing that the woman watching had helped reshape its hidden architecture. She wore silk pajamas and Dante's shirt, her partnership ring catching the moonlight. Behind her, she heard Dante emerge from the bedroom. "Can't sleep?" He wrapped his arms around her, chin resting on her shoulder. "Just thinking." She leaned into him. "About how I got here. About Jason and that burner phone, and running through the rain. About climbing into your car not knowing if I was escaping one monster or finding something worse." "And was I worse?" His breath was warm against her neck. "You were different, are different. You're dangerous, yes. You're ruthless and sometimes terrifying, and you've done things I'll never fully understand. But you're also honorable, loyal. You saw me when I was invisible. You gave me power when I was powerless." "You were never powerless, Tesoro. You just hadn't learned your own strength yet." "You taught me," she said softly. "You and this world you brought me into. It's dark and violent and complicated, but it's real. No one pretends to be something they're not. No one makes themselves small to make others comfortable. Is this your way of saying you're happy? This is my way of saying I wouldn't change anything. Not the fear, not the violence, not the impossible choices, because it all led me here, to you, to this, to being someone I actually like. The city is going to remember your name, Elena Rodriguez. Years from now, they'll tell stories about the woman who walked out of hell and claimed heaven. Our heaven, Elena corrected, the one we built together. As they disappeared into the shadows, the city lights continued glittering below, constant, indifferent, beautiful. Elena Rodriguez had fled into a stranger's car 6 months ago, terrified and desperate. Now she was a queen, and she was just getting started. If this story gave you chills, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment telling me what you thought of Elena's transformation, from victim to queen, from powerless to unstoppable. And if you want more stories like this, dark, intense, romantic thrillers that'll keep you on the edge of your seat, make sure notifications are on, because trust me, the next story is even better. Thank you for reading. Thank you for being here. Now go out there and claim your own power. You're stronger than you think. This is your reminder. Sometimes the scariest thing is also the safest thing. Sometimes the dragon protects better than the prince. And sometimes being claimed is the first step to claiming yourself. Until next time, stay fierce, stay fearless, stay you.